Facebook live stream up. Okay, and it is my extreme pleasure now to welcome to the Conscious Consultant Hour intuitive dowser, life coach, neurofeedback practitioner, and amazing healer, Hope Fitzgerald. Since her spiritual awakening at Findhorn in 76, Findhorn, that brings back memories to me. Hope has been a dedicated seeker of truth, healing, and wisdom. For 20 years, she's been opening her channel to higher guidance through intuitive dowsing and her spiritual coaching with this tool that has helped transform lives. In 2010, Hope received a series of visions, which we're going to talk about, a massive wave on its way to Earth, representing an incoming evolutionary push for the planet, which ultimately morphed into a standing figure 8 made of flowing water. And it is my extreme pleasure to welcome Hope to the Conscious Consultant Hour. Welcome, Hope.
Thank you so much, Sam.
It's great to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And I'm really happy we finally got our Facebook live stream working. I don't know why it didn't want me to record the quotes, but it's up and running now, so we're in good shape. So I'm just curious. I mean, you're like myself, a bit of an old timer when it comes to this stuff. How did you first get on your spiritual path? How did you even know about Findhorn to go there?
Good question. Well, in looking back, I realized that I have been on a spiritual path my whole life. I mean, when I was 9, I was begging my mother to take me to every different house of worship there was available. I was reading the Bible myself just because I felt like it.
Really?
And it just seemed natural to me.
Wow.
And it wasn't really fostered. I wouldn't say anybody was saying, here, you have to read this.
Right.
So I went on, and then my mom was a very forward-thinking person, very open-minded.
Okay.
So she was already talking to psychics, when I was in elementary school. She did EST at the very beginning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You work with...
yeah, she did. And she also just found out about meditation. And she had me take a meditation course when I was a junior in high school.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I learned how to do that. And then...
And let's give a little context. I mean, today this may sound not that far out, but we're talking 1960s, 1970s?
Yes.
I mean, back then that was really unusual.
Really radical.
Yeah, really radical.
And you didn't really talk about it.
Right, exactly. Because if you talked about it, you were ridiculed. You were like, oh, you're one of those weirdos.
Yeah, you got a lot of raised eyebrows.
Yeah.
She's gone off the deep end.
Yeah, exactly.
And so then she's the one who had a book on Findhorn, the Findhorn Garden. And I just happened to pick it up. And at the time I was 21, and I read the thing cover to cover in one sitting. And she came in the door, and I said, I have to go here. And she said, well, I'm going in July. You want to come?
Oh, wow.
And so that's how I went in 1976.
Wow. Oh, my God. That's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, I've never been there myself, and I learned about it probably 1980. I started to hear about it and the stories of how they grew like watermelon-sized strawberries, and how like praying to the plants and the divas, and really bringing a very spiritual practice to the garden, like just created an amazing environment.
Well, I highly recommend reading the book. It's had a reprinting with some new pictures in it, The Findhorn Garden. And it tells the story of how the garden was planted in sand. Literally sand. This is a spit of sand that goes into the North Sea. It's northern Scotland.
Right.
Nothing but seagrass grows there.
Right.
And by working with the plant devas and interacting on the deepest level, and by the way, that was the first time that I heard a version of the law of attraction. They called it the law of manifestation. And they were able to manifest literally to the most specific detail what they needed that day, whether it was eggs or wood or manure. They would ask for it, and it would come exactly as they asked.
Yeah.
And they had a rubber tree I mean,
oh my God!
you cannot
Yeah.
imagine. And it's like being in Kansas where you look in one direction and it's all barren and
Yes,
brown.
yeah.
And then you look in the other direction and it's lush and
An
green.
oasis. Yeah.
It is. It really does boggle the mind.
Yeah, it does. It does, really. And like anybody who's like young or hasn't heard of Finhorn or like is new to all the spiritual stuff, really check it out, Finhorn Garden, because it is a real history of like where a lot of modern day stuff comes from in the spiritual movement. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, let's talk about what happened for you at Findhorn and, what happened afterwards. So everybody, please stay tuned. You're listening to the Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity. My guest this hour is intuitive healer Hope Fitzgerald, and we will be right back.